Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you the 10 best class mods in Baldur's Gate 3 ranked from worst to best. Now all these class mods are fantastic and they're also all in the in-game mod manager. I just want to showcase these because I've been asked what my favorite class mod is. So first one we got here is the Duskblade class. And I'm starting off with a 2-for-1 special. We have two Duskblade mods. Actually, there's a third one, but two of the best ones are here. One by Water Witch 83. This has two different subclasses. As well, there's a mod by BG3 Duskblade class that is also a very distinct Duskblade. So I'll be showing these both off here. So we got ourselves with this one here by Water Witch. We got the two subclasses. We got the Elemental Blade, which gives us a bunch of different elemental attacks. And the Duskblade here is more so a Necromancer style. You do get some different attacks, but the Elemental Blade gives us some different effects like the Energy Surge, which is pretty much like an Elemental Smite. And then we also got ourselves a Rage attack here and a few different special attacks unique to this build. So this binds your weapon to allows you to use Intelligence modifier for attack rolls, so you can build entirely around Intelligence, making this a nice one to multi-class with the Wizard if you wanted to do something like that. It also gets a lot of great spells and cantrips and has synergy with the Mistress spell mod. If you got that installed, there's a lot of great choices here. And you get some of the fun spells like Chaos Bolt and I guess Shield being one of my favorites, so Jim's Magic Missile. What's fun about this class mod is you get a fighting style, you get some different cantrips, and depending on your subclass that you choose, you get some different effects as well further from that. And as you proceed through the levels, there's a bunch of different beneficial effects that you get from this. So I'll show this off briefly in detail here because I've done a build guide on this previously, so if you want to see that in more detail, you can check that out. But it does have some good spell selection. I think that's what makes it so fun, is I like any class that gets a combination of attacking as well as spell casting. You also have the Elemental Infused Weapon, which imbues a weapon with elemental power, deals an additional 1d6 of that elemental damage choice. One thing that's cool about this is you can infuse your weapon with cold damage and use the Snowburst ring, so you can run around making patches of ice, which is great for crowd control. Great if you're going against any type of casters, because you can make them slip on the ice and that will get rid of their concentration. So there's a lot of fun ways you can play a bit around with a class like this, because elemental damage with extra attacks is extremely useful, and that's what you get here. You also get a quicken spell, so you can attack twice and then cast a bonus action spell, almost like you're playing a Sorcerer. I don't feel like this is super overpowered. Like, it does feel stronger than some of the base game classes, but in a world where there's sword bards and sorcerers, it's just hard to be more overpowered than them. You also you get a +2 spell save DC, which is awesome. You do get some unique spells here, so like the Wail of the Banshee, which does a heart-rendering wail that beckons a living grave and deals a 5 to 30 psychic damage and possibly stuns enemies. As you can see, that's from the mod itself, so like the Energy Surge here, like your smites, melee caster, and you can see it's got a bunch of different unique effects for your weapon attacks. So if you like to go with spell casting and also go with melee attacks, this is a great class for you. There are some other classes like this that'll be on this list, so you can stay tuned for that, but I think that both of these Duskblade class mods are fantastic, so I have to highlight them here. This is number 10. This is a great mod, I just want to say, but there's many more to come, so we'll start off here with a strong one. Next, we got ourselves the Wildheart, and what's fun about this class is there's 4 different subclasses. It focuses on summoning, and if you've ever played Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous, you'll be somewhat familiar, similar to the Sylvan Sorcerer, which is like a druid sorcerer. Now with this, you get some great selections for spells, a lot of them being the druid style spells. We also get things like Flame Bolt and Lightning Lure there. And then for the spells, again, similar to what you got going on with the druid, but you also get some fun ones like Frost Fingers and Burning Hands. Now what's cool about this is it also has synergy with Mistress spells, so you can go ahead with that. But there's 4 distinct subclasses here, and this is where this one really stands out. So you got the Master of the Hounds, the Green Speaker, the Raven Song, and the Primal Lord. This mod was made by Wildsong XXL, and it's got some pretty cool artwork for it there. So you get the Master of the Hounds here, and it's extremely well detailed. You can see here, you get a bunch of different effects as you go through the levels. Master of the Hounds here giving you the ability to summon in a wolf. Green Speaker giving you the ability to summon in, as you can see here, a variety of different things: a blue jay, a pixie, creeping vine, or a wisp. And with the Raven Song, obviously you get yourself a Raven companion, and the Primal Lord gets a choice between a spider, a Grimishka, an owlbear cub, or an Alioramus, which is the dinosaur. So I'll show the Master of the Hounds because I love this, and you also get a dog or a wolf. And you get your ability scores. With some of these, you do have to set your bonuses too and your skill proficiency, so just be mindful if you're trying to play these. I get a lot of questions about that, so just want to quickly answer it there. But you can see you got yourself the wolf companion you can summon in, and then you got the ability to buff it up with the Nature's Invocation. Who doesn't love a good wolf boy? Be careful though, if you summon this in and Shadowheart is not, or if you haven't recruited Shadowheart and you have this running around with you, Shadowheart will get hostile. So just a little heads up there. But what's fun about this class is you get a bunch of different spell casting benefits, like you got sorcery points, but you also got a summon. So you could hypothetically solo the game with this if you wanted to. I'm a big fan of the sorcerer, but I also like the druids, and I like the Beastmaster Ranger for being able to get pets. So this is like the best of both worlds, because you get a pet, you get great spell selection, and you got some fun spells from the druid spell list. So you can even get Shillelagh, which is pretty useful damage early on in the game. You also get things like Scorching Ray. Now it functions similar to how the sorcerer functions, where you don't get a ton of spells, whereas the druid itself gets a bunch of prepared spells. You only can pick one per level. So that is the downside, but hey, every class does need a downside, or else it does feel overpowered. And you can see here as we progress through the levels, you get a bunch of different effects. Like you can summon in a stronger version of your dog there, and then you can also summon in like a blink dog, a warg, a dire wolf, or a shadow mastiff, which I'll show you here. And you can have both of these around with you, so that is really fun about that. Another thing that's really great about this mod is that you got support up to level 20, so you can summon in different effects as you get higher and higher in the level, and you also get more powerful versions of the Nature's Invocation. So you can see here we're going to summon in the Shadow Mastiff, and there it is. It's a cool looking pupper there. So yeah, there's a bunch of different ones that you can get. They're pretty strong, and then you got yourself the ability to buff them up here with our effects, so we can go with that. Takes his health up even further and increases armor class, so makes the dogs pretty tanky. And as you continue to level, you get more choices, so that's pretty cool. I really like this mod because, again, I like the sorcerer as well as going with things that relate to the druid. So yeah, Wildheart, fantastic class, some cool subclasses too. So that is one of the greatest class mods. Number 9. Now, you know, this list has got bangers when the next class we got here is the Dragon Tamer, which is a fantastic mod. This one's here by Yulestar, and it's got 2 different subclasses, 3 different dragons, and you got here 6 different variations, because you can go with a lightning, a cold, or a fire dragon, and focus on using your bow or using melee attacks. Now, I love this because they use some pretty cool AI generated art here. So if you got like this ice dragon or the fire dragon, cute little fella there, lightning elements, so you can summon in a dragon companion, and you do get some cool bonuses as you level up. Your character itself is more of a martial class. What I like about this is it's got a lot of style to it. As a person that really enjoys dragons, this is a cool one. The Wildheart has more depth to it than this mod, but look, you got yourself a little tiny dainty dragon when you first start off, doing at 9 health. But as you level up and get stronger, it continues to get bigger and bigger. So as you proceed, you can see there your dragon got stronger. Summon him again, and you get training with light armor at level 2. So you can also get different armor proficiencies depending on the subclass you pick. So we got Elemental Archer, which will give you whenever you do an attack with a bow, your dragon will attack them as well. And then you get proficiencies with medium armor and all types of bows. And then with this one, you get heavy armor and weapon proficiencies. And then when you do a melee attack, the dragon will attack them as well. So I'll just quickly show off what this looks like. You also get some different like Battle Master maneuver attacks that you can use pretty freely. So that is also fun because it gives you a unique synergy here. And you also get cookies. This is the only Baldur's Gate 3 class so far to have cookies in it, which is a pretty big deal if you're a cookie fan like I am. Now, you also get some elemental charges that allows you to do some different attacks as you continue to level up. And you build up a resource that you can use to expend on those attacks. So like the Dragon's Aura here, use 6 stacks of your stacked energy, become overloaded with dragon magic and dealing damage to all enemies around you for 2 rounds. And you get 4.5 extra meters of movement speed and don't trigger opportunity attacks. So as I said, as you continue to level up, I'll just skip ahead and show what this looks like at level 12. So now we'll summon in our big dragon here, and as you can see, our little one pops down and we got a big dragon here. It's cute. I love the dragons in Baldur's Gate 3. The Wild Song, as I mentioned, has a bit more depth to it with level support up to level 20. This is mostly just like a martial class, but you get things like, you got your superiority die there so you can attack with your attacks. You got special effects whenever you have your elemental charges built up. And then you got your dragon, and it can do some attacks too, like tiny lightning ball, lightning breath, lightning ball, and many others. It can also heal you, so it can exchange 35 of its health to heal you for 35, and you can do the same too. So this is cool because it allows you to play through, and you could solo the game with these two if you wanted to. It would be a bit challenging, but it's possible. It's definitely possible, especially if you set up with like a cold or a lightning dragon. There's a lot that you can do. So I really like this mod because, again, dragons look so cool in this game, and the more dragon classes, I think the better. So just had to put some highlight on this one. Next, we got ourselves a class that I'm pretty sure everyone knows about, and that is the Mystic class with 812,000 downloads. This is a really great class because of the depth it has. Now, you can see here you got a bunch of different cantrips, and this is not where the depth ends. We got ourselves over 63 different passives here. I guess it is still 63 with 10 different subclasses. So this is incredible. My favorite being the Order of the Exorcist here, which gives you the ability to summon in spiritual fighters. You can summon in like a warlock, a wizard, a fighter, a bard, a monk. They go up to level 5 when you're level 12, and they're really fun to play around with because whenever you summon them in, you can use them to kind of take hits for your team. And you could solo the game with this very easily. And this is just the subclass features. You also got the Order of the Blade, which gets an extra attack at level 6, but you also get some class passives here where you can give yourself an extra attack. So you have the Psionic Skirmishing here, which gives you the Psionic Alacrity, which can give you an extra attack for 10 turns, or you can spend 7 psi points and make it last until long rest. And this stacks, so you can get 3 attacks. And then you also have these attacks, which will strike all nearby enemies, dealing normal weapon damage plus 1d8 of slashing. Or you can also infuse your weapon with damage types. As I said, you can use Snowburst Ring to make ice surfaces with that. You got this here, which can do a bonus action to attack. It goes on and on. I also really like the Psychic Assault here, doing psychic damage. If you have the Resonance Stone, that can one-shot pretty much anyone. You also get like the Mastery of Time here with acceleration zones, where you can plop that down on the ground and haste your entire team by stepping inside of it. There's so many great things here. You can also give yourself Action Surge. You can give yourself a bunch of different buffs. You got summons with this. You can see there, Action Surge, bonus action, Action Surge. So you can do your 3 attacks, haste yourself 3 attacks, give yourself another Action Surge, 3 more attacks. It's actually insane. And then on top of it, there's also an ability where you can give your teammates an extra attack as well. So with the Mantle of Courage, you got the Pillar of Confidence, and still up to 6 creatures with a Surge of Confidence, granting them an extra action on their next turn. 6 side points, 6 actions is broken. You can have another Mystic here, apply it to yourself, and give yourself even further attacks. I don't even have to go on and on about how crazy this class is. It's just very strong, but it's fun. I would challenge you to try and solo or do like a lone wolf with one other player if you want to try and beat the game, like you do yourself and Shadowheart or something like that, or 2 mystics, because you can literally do like a monk mystic, a fighter mystic, a wild magic sorcerer. Because this one's a wild magic, the Unbound. This one's like a wizard. This one's like a thrower. And then a bunch of different casters. Incredible class. I cannot say enough good things about it. This mod was made by Zevo here, and they truly outdone themselves with this mod. It's one of the very first mods in the mod manager, and it's fantastic. So I have to give it some highlight there. It's a whole lot of fun. Now, the next one we got ourselves here is the Dread Overlord. Now, this one isn't inherently a class, but it may as well should be because of the level of death. It is a Warlock subclass, so it does have the features of the Warlock here, so you can see. But even at level 1, you got a ton of different benefits. Now, I have gone over this build in further detail in a few different videos. I've done build guides on it. I've talked about it a number of times. Fantastic. This one is really great. So this mod is made by the Dread Overlord, and if you want to see some of the mods that builds that I've done, they are on their mod.io page, so you can check that out if you want to get a little bit further detail on this one. The gist of it, and I guess I'll go over it in detail here. You get a giant skeleton, you get a warlock skeleton that you can summon in, you can get yourself a skeletal dragon, and a bunch of other effects. So there's a skeletal dragon, you get that at level 14. So it does have synergy if you go all the way up to level 20. I've done a level 20 build on this. It's a lot of fun. And you can also summon in crawling claws here. So this creates them. You can create up to like 16 of them. You can summon a shield of souls by using your summons to be able to give yourself increased armor class. You can reclaim them to give yourself minion points to cast further to be able to cast further spells that summon in things like this, the undead dragon. And you also can apply necrotic armaments. The reason I'm including this in this video is there is actually a full Necromancer questline in this game with Livor Mortis bonuses. So you can get bonuses in this from questlines all the way through Acts 1, 2, and 3. I think that's got to be one of the most fleshed out class mods in Baldur's Gate 3. It's available on console as well as PC. You get yourself choice in different spells here. If you take the Bone Staff, and instead of taking like the Pact of the Blade, if you go with the Pact of the Tome here, you get an upgrade to the staff, and you can do a bunch of different effects with it. Another thing about this is you also get the Andrus the Devil Dog. So I'll show you what that looks like. If you go with the Pact of the Chain, you get yourself a dog. You get that dog. What that dog doing? Pact of the Blade obviously being fun, adds necrotic damage to your spells. Pact of the Tome, I've never used that on a normal warlock, but it actually goes really hard here because with Pact of the Tome, you can add your necrotic armaments to your summons. So you can make your summons deal extra necrotic damage. It's fantastic. So you can see here, the Pact of the Chain's Familiar also gets an extra attack. And you also get some summons. You can literally summon non-stop. So this is the true best necromancer class in Baldur's Gate 3. There's so much depth to it. So just going through, you got the Summoner of the Damned, the Skeletal Warlock. You do need corpses to be able to summon these in. It's not like an elemental. You can just pop it down wherever you see fit. But hey, it's really great. And Andrus the Devil Dog gets the Battle Buddies forever, I must say. And with that, you can summon in dogs to go with your dogs. I heard you love dogs so much, so we gave you a dog to go with your dog. So you got the Fine Familiar here, and there's the Devil Dog Andrus. I'll just summon that fella in here. He's the goodest boy. He's searching for some love. So that's what he looks like there. And on top of this, you got the Summon Ghostly Fire Team. So summon 2 dogs, fight by your side for a short time. Battle Buddies forever. So you summon that in. Not only do you got a dog, but you got 2 more dogs. You can't control these dogs. They just do what they see fit. They look like a ghostly scratch. And yeah, they're good as boy. So that's really fun. I can't say enough good things about this. You can summon it in a skeletal warlock. You can summon in a giant skeleton. You got your crawling claws. You can summon in normal zombies. If you got the Crypt Lord ring, you can, I guess you even get a free spell casting of the, you get a free casting of the level 6 Crate Undead. So there's a lot of great things to go with this mod. I absolutely love the Dread Overlord Warlock mod, and I think you would too if you haven't used it yet. Go download it. 344,000 downloads. It deserves 1 million. It's that great. Another class mod that deserves more attention is the Demimod God class. So this one is fantastic. What it has going on is you can become the Hera of Zeus, Hades, Aphrodite, Ares, or Artemis. Now, what's cool about it is it has a lot of depth to each of these. So each of them has distinct spells that would make sense for each of them to have. So like Zeus, obviously lightning and storm related. So you get cold and lightning damage. And then your spells are also reflected that way. If you go with Hades here, you get yourself the Soul Shield, which has some cool effects. You can draw the energy of enemies. You also get obviously some necromancy spells. Aphrodite is going to be more psychic focused and things like the Psychic Spike and like Fairy Fire and Dissonant Whispers. It's cool. Aphrodite obviously being more so focused on like love and command and things like that. So that's a lot of fun. You also get Vicious Mockery too and Friends. We also have ourselves the Hera of Ares here, which is obviously focused more so on like weapon attacks. We use your wisdom modifier instead of strength or dexterity for attacks. Things like Sword Burst and Eldritch Blast, and then further spells like Searing Smite, Magic Missile, and then some blank ones there. Catapult, Wrathful Smite. And we also have ourselves the Hair of Artemis, which is cool. Stock praise 8 allies and take forms of different beasts. So you also get some wild shape-esque effects. So obviously animal focused, but this mod by Dean Enterprise is truly fantastic. You can see each of these is well crafted to the Greek god that they're focusing on. So you got like your lightning, you got Ares, you got Hades here. I really enjoy this one, and if you're a fan of Greek mythology, I'd recommend giving this a shot because they did a really great job with this, and they're working on updating more things as well. So this is really cool. You can use Fate to modify your spells, so you get different benefits as you level up. Over 40 custom spells and passives in this as well. So here's Hades got his Blaze Warp. I did a Hades build guide. I did a Zeus build guide. You can teleport around, deal fire damage to all that you hit with it. You also get the Medusa's Gaze, which can petrify targets in an area in front of you, kind of like a Cone of Cold, which I think is a really cool spell. Zeus has the Invigorating Surge here, which can deal lightning damage. You can channel it with them. Aphrodite has the Lustrous Lure, which can use basically a command version spell. You also get your Godly Form, which you can transform into a large version of yourself. And then Ares has Swarm of Swords, so you can do this attack with your weapon and deal damage, kind of like a Sword Burst style attack. And this one is a ton of fun. It says you can use the 5e spells mod. So if you use this mod, you might want to use Mistress Spells mod because that one's just an easy one to download. And it has full synergy with this. So I love it. I think that it's very fun because it has 5 different classes here. And they're going to be adding probably more to this as well. So your weapon deals lightning damage as a bonus action for 10 turns with Zeus. So Every class has some really fun effects to them. The Beguiling Beauty here gives it +2 to charisma, 1d4 bonus damage, and emit a bright light from your body. So no matter what subclass you choose, you're gonna have a fun time with this class mod. I think this is one of the most well-developed ones, and I do have builds on these, so you can check those out. Actually, I have builds for every single mod that I covered in this video. I just love these, so had to showcase this. But yeah, that's number 5 there. And number 4, we got ourselves the Oakheart Sentinels. This is probably the most underrated mod that I've covered so far. With 6,900 downloads, it deserves more. So guys, go download this one because it's got a lot of depth to it. Now, what it looks like, 6 different subclasses, similar to what I just showed you there with the Demigod. However, this is like the older edition rule set of the Druid. So you get the ability to summon in different creatures. Like this one has a hyena summon, so it's kind of like how the the Beast Master Ranger has the ability to summon in different summons. This is like a Druid version of that, but you also get things like the Oak Branch there, which can you can infuse your weapon until long rest and give yourself extra damage there. Depending on which subclass you get, you also can get different things like Face Shaper, as the name implies, allows you to transform into the different versions of like a cat or a rat. And then you also get the Oak's Aim, which increases your bow attacks. The Fall Reaver here getting some different spells. It's all about like death and decay. The Dying Season, the Agent of Blight and Decay. So cool cantrip selection here. Depending on which subclass you pick, you do get some different choices as you level up. But as you may notice, this is the Druid spell list, and that's where this class becomes interesting, because it can be somewhat of a Druid caster, but it can also be somewhat of a melee class, depending again on your subclass, or your subclass of choice. You also got ourselves a Spring Keeper. I think this one's a lot of fun. It's more so like a caster focus. And then my absolute favorite is the Frost Weaver. You guys know I love the cold build, so yeah, it's got a lot of depth to it. As you level up, you get a bunch of different benefits that you can buff up your team with. And you also get some summons. So what this looks like whenever you go into here, you got your classic companions, and then you have Oakheart companions. So you got your normal, if you went with the Battle Master or the Beast Master Ranger, you got choices there. The Oakheart companions have some different ones, like the Keeper's Owlbear, the Weaver's Winter Wolf, the Seeker's Saber Cat, Shaper's Blink Dog, the Reaper's Tainted Bear, and the Watcher's Spirit Eagle. So depending on which one of the subclasses you pick, you can summon in a different creature here, and they're pretty cool. Like here's a big nice icy wolf. So yeah, I love this mod. This one is just so well done. So as you continue to level up, you do get some pretty cool spells here, as we'll show off. You get the Oakheart casting expertise. All Sentinel classes use summoned allies and spirit companions to keep them safe in the battlefield. They learn to carefully shape their offensive spells. Similar to Evocation Wizard, you can summon in like your spells without hurting your teammates, which is nice. Depending on subclass, you get different spells. Like I got the Chunks of Ice and Shatter spells, and then you get increased level. It's the Druid spell list. The Druid actually has a pretty decent spell list, I must admit. Some people don't like Druids, but Spike Growth is really good. It's an underrated spell for sure. And then as you continue to proceed in the levels, you'll see what it gets. You get proficiency bonus added to your summons armor class, Freezing Rain, so you can come and summon that in, and then also a counter spell. And as we continue to level up, you got some really fun ones, like Tidal Wave is one of the most underrated Mistress Spells mod, because it sets up water. So you can drop that and then drop like a Call Lightning for double damage, which is really good. And you also get yourself exceptional training, so your bonus action, dash, dodge, and disengage. You also get Ice Storm if you take the Frost Weaver. My favorite. I just like cold builds, so I'm Canadian and we like the ice. And then you get yourself some of the great spells like Woodland Being. Woodland Being is so underrated because it allows you to use Spike Growth without having to concentrate on it. So one of the best strategies here is to actually use the Tidal Wave and follow it up with a Cone of Cold. So what this can do, we summoned out our dog. I summoned in a bear for some reason. That was cool. You got your Freezing Rain there, which can make an ice surface. It's kind of like just an ice spell. But Tidal Wave will do bludgeoning damage, knock creatures prone, and set up water. So you can do this upwards of 32 damage. Follow that up with a Cone of Cold, which can do upwards of 128 damage after you have the water set up. It becomes very strong. So I must say that the Oakheart Sentinels is a fantastic class mod made by Nightly ST. They've done a fantastic job with this mod, so I highly recommend going and giving it a shot. They update it pretty frequently too. I think this is one of the most enjoyable class mods in Baldur's Gate 3. But we got our top 3 coming up now, and some of these you may have used, but number 3 is the Arcane Vanguard made by Sathos. What's awesome about the Arcane Vanguard is you got 4 different subclasses. You got the Eldritch, Judgment, Sentinel, and Dervish. I've done builds on all 4 of these subclasses, so you can check those out on my channel if you want to see them in further detail. I'll give you the gist of each of these. So Judgment is about focusing on elemental damage. You get your Sacred Flame, Thorn Whip, and Green Flame Blade. And whenever you deal damage using a spell or a cantrip that infuses your weapon, you deal additional 1d6 of it on your next weapon attack. Sentinel, focused on like buffing, kind of like a paladin cleric style. And then whenever you heal a creature, you add your intelligence modifier to your next weapon attack roll. So it benefits from healing and then also attacking too, because you'll buff up your strength. With the Dervish, this is a cool one. After casting a spell, a special attack is prepared. So you can cast a spell and then use these attacks. So like a Charged Flourish, which will do additional force damage. This will increase your armor class by 1. This will lower the enemy's armor class by 1. This will give you an increase in 1 to your attack rolls and reduce the enemy's attack rolls, raise yours. And then this one will reduce strength, dexterity, and constitution saving throws by 1 and half their movement speed. And this will do it to their wisdom, intelligence, and charisma. And the final one, the Eldritch Vanguard. This one is like psychic damage focus. So you got like your Vicious Mockery. Hey, shit eater. I love that spell. You also got the Exhaust the Incompetent. Once per turn, you inflict a status. You also cause 2 turns of mental fatigue. And the spell list is pretty cool for each of these. So you can see here, this one's more so focused on like being a. This one's got like your Ice Knife and your Hail of Thorns. The Eldritch had more of the psychic focus, Dissonant Whispers, and Cause Fear. Again, Mistress Spell mod can work with this. The Judgment gives you the healing spells, Guiding Bolt, Bless, Sanctuary. And then the Dervish has the Dervish Flourishes. And you also get the regular spells that you can pick, which are normal, but it has. What I like best about the Arcane Vanguard is you got your base spells here, so you got some really fun ones. I love Command, and an intelligence-based command is fantastic. This also class does multi-class well with any of the intelligence-based classes, so some of the other ones on this list, and some of the ones that I'll talk about in a minute here, fantastic. But what I love most is that the subclasses each have their own unique spells, so gotta give a shout out to Sathos. They did a fantastic job with this mod. And it's available on console too with 248 downloads. If you haven't downloaded this, what are you doing? Go download it right now. You're crazy. It's one of the best ones out there and very fun one as well. So that is our number 3. Getting to the second best. This was a tough one. To pick the number 1, I'm going with the Artificer for second best class mod. I love the Artificer. This just released on console this week. This was a very difficult choice. I would switch these if I were to wake up tomorrow morning. Like it's very difficult to go and pick these from the top 5 or top 10 because all of these are extremely well done. So the Artificer, this is a homebrewed version of the Artificer. So it's got its spell list here, which is a pretty good spell list, like Thunderwave, Shield, things like that are fantastic. We also get infusements. So this one here will give strength saving throws and checks, gives your intelligence modifier. This one uses, anytime you do a dexterity check, uses your intelligence modifier. This one gives you +1 or 2 to attack rolls, +1 or 2 to armor class, +1 or 2 to weapon attacks, plus add homing to a weapon, and gain advantage on concentration. There's also 4 distinct subclasses, and they're all very well fleshed out. So the Alchemist, this is focused on throwing bombs, so you can use this. What's cool with the Alchemist too is you can create a potion or bomb, so the potions will heal you, the bombs you can throw, and you can get a bonus action throw to throw them as a bonus action. But you also get to replicate magical items, so you can create magic items that last until a long rest. What this means is if you have a weapon that you really want to use on another character, like the Baldur and Giant Slayer, you can create a second Baldur and Giant Slayer and give it to your team that lasts until a long rest. You can also use this to make like different armor. If you want 2 Helldusk armors, you want 2 of anything, you can use this. It's very cool. The Armorer is a fun one. So you got the Thunder Gauntlets dealing thunder damage on your attacks, and then ranged attacks can deal lightning damage. And then you got resistance to an elemental damage choice that you can choose. These use your infusement slots, which is really cute, really cool. Artillerist is a fun one. You can use your Eldritch Cannon, and you can summon this down the ground. You can get a second one, or you can attach it to your weapon. I would recommend dropping it down the ground because it gets basically an Eldritch Blast, which just knocks them around. And then the repeating shot, it uses an infusion slot here. You shoot twice with your ranged weapon. And as you level up, you can make it so that you can shoot 3 times with your ranged weapon, and it can use a bonus action or an action. So you can attack many times with this. I really like the Artillerist. I did a build guide of this yesterday, so you can check that out. And finally, we got ourselves the Battlesmith. This gives you the ability to summon in a Steel Defender, and then also the Helm of Awareness, which gives you the effects of the Alert feat. And the Battlesmith adds a spell casting ability modifier to attack rolls. So the Battlesmith is an interesting one. You can use this to summon in your Steel Defender that'll help you fight. It's got a +3 bonus, so you can get your intelligence up to a +8 right at the start, which is really cool, just to counter some of the other effects. This mod was made by Echo0000. It's a homebrewed version of the Artificer. Usually you pick the Artificer subclass at level 3. We can see here there's some pretty great progression here as you go through the levels. It does have up to level 12 support, doesn't go up to level 20. But what's cool about this is it's now live on console, 236,000 downloads. And if you haven't downloaded this one yet, give it a shot because you'll not be disappointed. There's such great selection here. As you level up, you get good spell selection. It is delayed a level, so at level 6 you get your level 3 spells, but you do get level 12 spells, so or level 6 spells at level 12. So very, very fun mod. Now, the last one, this was tough again. As I mentioned, the Artificer could have been number 2 or number 1. It's tough. It was really a big toss-up. I've thought about this for all day. The final class that we're going to be covering is the number 1, Mind Weaver. This class is fantastic. What I think is best about the Mind Weaver is you got 5 distinct different builds. So you got the Sciatic Warden, the Force Blade, the Astral Seer, and the Void Reaver, and we now have the Aetheric Strider. So this mod made by ZX10RX, tons of unique spells with it. So you can see here a lot of different choices you can go through. So to just talk about each one of these subclasses and how they feel different. The Psionic Warden's mostly about weapon attacks dealing psychic damage, and then you get different cantrips here that are unique to this class, and you get some different passives which increase your movement speed. You can add your intelligence modifier to your initiative. This will add your intelligence modifier to your armor class when you're wearing half armor, or add half your intelligence modifier when you're wearing light armor. And the Psionic Blade Infusement, which will allow you to use intelligence modifier for your attack and damage rolls. So go all in on your psychic damage with this one. The Force Blade is cool because it focuses more on force damage. I also did a build if you want to play as a Sith, you can use the Force Blade and become a strong Sith or Jedi, I guess if you want to go with the Jedi. The Astral Seer, my favorite of these, is it's kind of like the Wild Magic Sorcerer. You get some astral anomalies that'll blow up near you, and you get a ton of cool spells. I'll cover this one in detail in a second. The Void Reaver focuses on using 2 long swords, and you give the finesse property to them, and you can deal a lot of damage with this. The Aetheric Strider, it's mostly like a ranged weapon attacker, like using your bow and magic. You can see here you got like Mind Pierce Arrow, Mind Seeker, and the Psionic Detonation. And then for other cantrips here, we got the Death Veil, Aetheric Rune Blade, and Soul Rend. And then you got some different passives here as you level up. I'm going to show off the Astral Seer because this one's got the most cool spells. You got like things that do cold and psychic damage there. And as you level up, you get things that are like a cold version of the Magic Missile. You get a psychic version of Psionic Orb. You get your passives here, and then as we level up, we get some really fun effects as well. I'll show these off in detail because this class is so well done. I must admit, this is one of the best class mods. Number 1 for me, but it might not be number 1 for you, but I still think it's really fantastic. You also get like an Astral Disintegration, Void Frost Sphere to trap enemies in there. You can also do some healing. And you can also toggle different effects on your spells. So whenever you go to cast a spell, you can use a Mind Surge. You can also haste yourself, which will give you 2 stacks of astral instability, which can potentially make that explosion happen around you. And then you get some further spells like Celestial Vortex, which will pull creatures in, dealing psychic and cold damage. Psionic Storm, this is like Call Lightning, but psychic damage. Hold Person, one of my favorites. Mind Shackle, Mind Rend. So again, you get a ton of unique spells here that are very powerful, and as you level up, you continue to get further strength from these different spells. I love this class just because of the amount of detail that went into this and the freedom of choice. So you got a lot of options whenever you're in a fight. You got like a Cold Lightning Bolt, which I think is awesome, and then a Psychic Fireball. If you have the Resonance Stone, this build goes really hard. But as you can see, there's a bunch of different unique spells here that just further enhance the abilities. You get different passives here, cerebral amplifications whenever you level up, and yeah, you just continue to get better and better spells that are very fun to use. So I'll show off what these look like because they do have some cool effects. A Psychic Chain Lightning, this here will pull all the targets in towards you. Again, I'll just show off some of these spells here at the end so you can see what these look like in combat. I'll just level up a little further to give you an idea of what this looks like. But yeah, this mod by ZX10RX is fantastic. So you can get some different Dominate Will style attacks. It has some unique effects and unique appearances. So if you go with like the Ethereal Ice Bolt, it's kind of like a lightning but cold, and you can see there it does like a cold effect. Or you got the Psychic Fireball, which hits really hard and does pink fire. So I have to say, this is a very, very well done class mod, and I'm curious what your favorite class mod is in Baldur's Gate 3. So let me know in the comments. Hit the subscribe button below if you haven't already. Thank you so much for the support, guys. Hope you have a great day, and I'll see you all in the next video.